Blake Lively's objections were addressed before and during the filming hiatus. The filing states that although Lively's description of events is disputed, her objections were actually resolved as soon as they were raised, and she chose not to file any complaint after she and her husband chastised Baldoni for asking about her weight. The issue did not recur. When she objected to certain sex scenes, Baldoni revised or eliminated them. And on June 1st, 2023, in the hiatus, in the early part of filming, Lively met with Baldoni and Heath to review matters that she was unhappy about. Both men apologized for her discomfort. The filing says she identified no incident after that meeting that she claims constitutes SH. 5 months after filming stopped because of the strike, Lively's lawyer sent a list of protections for future filming and said a signed agreement would suffice instead of a more formal HR process, while noting that she did reserve all legal rights. So the motion for summary judgment says the requested protections largely replicated measures already in place, and some addressed conduct that Lively herself had engaged in, such as improvising kissing, we saw that, commenting on appearances, and hugging cast members. Now, at a January 4th meeting, this is the aforementioned all-hands meeting, January 4th meeting in her apartment, she read aloud additional grievances, including restrictions on topics Baldoni could mention on set, and a request for, notice of COVID exposures. Hello, Karen. On or about January 19th, 2024, a couple weeks later, the It Ends With Us team signed the protections that she put forward in a forward-looking rider called the CRA, which contains no admission of improper conduct. He said, they would not acknowledge, and everybody moved on. Now, to show you what a pain in the neck Blake is, the day after Blake and control freak Ryan's all-hands meeting on January 4th, in a group chat that included Justin Baldoni, actor Travis Van Winkle, musician Andy Grammer, and Jamie Heath, and who else? Rainn Wilson, claimed that Baldoni was set up. This is a text thread between those guys. Rainn Wilson from The Office. And in the motion for summary judgment, this text thread was included. Here are the texts. We'll read them. Justin Baldoni says, "Hey, sorry for not giving an update. Last night was one of the hardest nights of my life. It is hard to describe what happened exactly. The only way to describe it was an ambush. I had no words. I could not formulate sentences. My brain was trying to defend itself when they were needing me to apologize for all the ways I've effed up and made her feel unsafe. Ryan was talking to me like a 5-year-old and scolding me. They essentially said that Jamie and I are not who we claim to be, and that for us to have a podcast is unsafe because it makes people feel like we're safe. It was all read from a phone of all things I did, while many of them were based in actual situations. The events were wrong and things were taken completely out of context. The word creepy and abuse were used in reference to me and my behavior. I was then given the words of what to say, a script of what to say, and had to apologize, which I was unable to do because my brain was trying to comprehend what the hell was happening. I was in shock and basically went into feeling like I was a 7-year-old again when I got home last night. I was emotionally paralyzed. It was as bad as it sounds. Jamie did a beautiful job apologizing. I did not have the words. I was embarrassed for myself as it happened in front of the team, but I was embarrassed that I was unable to even formulate the correct words to apologize and honestly just feel like a bad person. It's hard to feel so much of what they believe about me is false because they're so convinced that it's real. Looking for the nuggets of learning, which there are many, and somehow have showed up today, thanks to Jamie and my wife, and we are currently, all shooting. I love you all. Baldoni goes on to say, my brain was struggling because what I wanted to say and do was run and blow this whole movie up because I feel like this was so unjust, and yet the only path forward was to acknowledge her and Ryan's feelings and apologize and take the wrath of an angry husband. Yeah, I couldn't even do that correctly. I prayed and prayed and prayed for the words, And it didn't come. So I felt abandoned by God in that moment, even though I know that's not what happened. We were told this was the worst experience of her life. And others have witnessed this behavior on set. And the behavior on set was creepy. I was emotionally paralyzed, which is something I haven't experienced in years. Baldoni says, and by the way, I'm sorry for my dictation grammar. I'm in between shots. Okay. Now, the next person to respond, it's redacted, but we believe it's Andy Grammer, the musician. Justin, you were ambushed. You reacted the only way you could. Hold on to your beliefs and keep moving forward. God's all glorious and is with you. Our prayers for strength and protection continue. We are with you in spirit and love you with all our hearts. Isn't it Andy Grammer that sings, "Gotta keep your head up"? Oh, yeah. Is that him? Yeah, so it can almost be, just sing that to him. Anyway, then Rainn Wilson from The Office. We all love Rainn Wilson. He pipes in on the thread and says, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. You were set up and ambushed and personally attacked. I'm stunned. I completely relate to you being stunned like a deer in the headlights. Probably better that you didn't immediately just start apologizing. So grateful that Jamie is your partner and could step in diplomatically as needed. Onward, brother. Make a great and important and entertaining piece of storytelling. That's all you can do now. So sorry for what you went through. I love you all and will keep praying for you. Congrats on getting them back to the film, even though you feel like you've been through a war. God answers all our prayers, just not in ways that are obvious at the time. You have many friends who love you, and you're connected to your soul." So, receipts. These are receipts. That's raw right there, right? It gives you an unvarnished insight into the angst and the pain this whole thing was causing him. Where are any of her texts from that time with Taylor Swift or Jenny Slate or Isabel Ferrer, the other actresses on the film, or the author of the book, Colleen Hoover? Answer with the receipts. Oh my God, he did this, he did that. Let's see him. All right, back to the motion for summary judgment. Filed just this past Thursday, November 13th. Baldoni's lawyers continue to lay out the case for immediate dismissal. When filming resumed in January of 2024, after this meeting and all that, Blake raised no further objections, described the set as professional, and any earlier issues had been fully resolved. In other words, they say, know your audience. They learned their audience of Blake and Ryan, that it was Karen and an angry, jealous husband. Also alleged by Baldoni's legal team that after filming wrapped, Blake leveraged her celebrity connections to gain extensive control over the film's edit and credits while pressuring other people to support her positions. The filing asserts that Blake stirred up negative press about Baldoni, that she and her husband, Ryan, unfollowed him on social media. Remember that, prompting a speculation of a feud. Like, that goes noticed, right? And that the press definitely took notice. She later sought limits on Baldoni's participation in promotional events. Remember that? I mean, it's unbelievable. The director of the film is not involved. Oh, my God. All right, well, here is where, in my opinion, Blake resolved to get litigious in this process, right? Didn't go to human resources, but is going to go and at least threaten legally. In late July 2024, 3 weeks, month before the movie came out, over a year after her on-set concerns had been resolved, and in response to escalating media coverage around the film's premiere, Baldoni looked into hiring a crisis PR team. Smart, right? They all agreed it would be a mistake to fan the flames, but you should be ready for what comes. When you get that icky feeling, like something could happen, so they met with TAG, the public relations firm run by Melissa Nathan, on July 25th to discuss crisis management. That's what Melissa does, while reiterating they did not want to take any offensive steps, right? We're not going on the offense here. And, Melissa's later scenario planning document, which some have seen, was merely a menu of options, not an adopted plan, but let's be ready. After the premiere, numerous outlets ran stories about the feud between them, prompting standard PR efforts to distribute positive information about Justin Baldoni. That's what you hire a publicist for. Jennifer Abel, who was his rep from JonesWorks PR, she was awaited a green light to implement a social media plan for Justin. And on August 9th, Wayfair, knowing that shit was coming down and this was getting weird and wacky fast, hired Jed Wallace and Street Relations to monitor online activity and be ready. The filing states this was done to avoid adverse publicity affecting the film's reception.